All right, so first things first, Tom, how are you?
Very well, man. Happy to be here. Happy to be in Amsterdam. And yeah, it's just excited, man.
Good to see you again. The last time we spoke, your first album had just come out. Now, considering kind of everything that you've been through in your life, and then even before you got into music, you've gone through some difficult times, and now with Evering Road being a number one album, your second album being a number one album, what does that do to you, considering the kind of the journey that you went on?
What does it do to me? Well, it makes me happy for one, but not only that, it just gives me. It just makes me feel like people have connected with what I'm doing, and people have understood the journey that I've been on. But also, I opened the door for people to come in and have an opinion on that time of my life, and I was hoping that it would help as many people as I could understand me, and if they change their opinion on what I've done, it might change their opinion on what they do in their journey as well. So, man, the whole thing is just crazy to me that people have received it and made it a number one album. I never thought it would do that. So it's just good to know that people love it.
But it starts, I would assume, with the music for yourself, right? You write those songs. I heard you say it's kind of a form of catharsis, that you kind of get something out of it yourself. So can you take me through the initial parts of your creative process?
Yeah, man. To be honest with you, there's like you say, it was a therapeutic time. It was such a long time ago now. I'm not too sure like what the method of creativity was like. Man, I just sat down and wrote some songs, to be honest with you. There's no like magical process to it, and the process is I go to the studio, and hopefully one day a song comes, and they did, because at that time I felt like I needed to say a lot of stuff. I had a lot of stuff on my chest, and that's where my creativity starts really. But there's no process to it, man. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, then I go home and try again tomorrow.
With that in mind, then, especially because on a debut album, you don't really know where you are within kind of the music industry yet. You don't really know if people are going to listen. So how do you look back at Lighting Matches? What now, having made your second album, how do you look back at Lighting Matches kind of creatively?
Creatively, I don't really listen to that album, man, to be honest with you. It lives in people's lives, and people still tell me that they love it, which is cool, man. But I was a kid, man, to be honest with you. Didn't really know what I was doing, and yeah, I can't, like, again, like the songs were just me coming out of university and kind of trying to find my voice, trying to find my feet in the music industry, like you say. But to be honest with you, I don't listen to that album.
Fair enough. If we go through the process to where you are now, then what would you say has become one of your main points of improvement? Well, what were the things that you focused on in the last couple of years to try and develop? Is it just songwriting, your voice? How did you kind of see your own progress?
Yeah, man, like my voice for one, I definitely that's got stronger, and I think that's from me using it a lot more, and stopped smoking, and got myself healthy. To be honest with you, it was more as soon as I started getting healthy and fit physically, my mind then started to get fit, and that's where my focus then really kind of was like, boom, straight forward. There's nothing going to stop me getting what I want and doing what I want to do. So yeah, I think for me the improvement was my fitness, mentally and physically.
What gave rise to this change then? Because you've always been an athletic guy. You've played football in your younger years. Did it come to a certain point where you had to make a change and become healthier? Or what was the thing that kind of got you on this new path or this path?
I think I was just doing stupid things, mate, to be honest with you. Yeah, I don't want to go into it, but you probably guess what I'm on about, so it's all right.
Fair enough. Did it affect your creativity then? Once you got in a more healthy mindset, did it kind of improve your creativity, your songwriting?
Yeah, for sure. I just had clarity. Do you know what I'm saying? I knew what I was talking about. I wasn't hiding behind a sheet of hungoverness. Do you know what I mean? I was very clear-minded and clear, straight to the point, and yeah, I knew what I was doing.
When did the foundation for what would become the second album start to take shape? Because this whole writing process, was there a moment where you kind of felt like, okay, now I've got this album forming?
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't really remember. I think like when I was writing, I knew that these were good songs, and then I had a lot of different songs, but I just wanted to pick out the songs that really represented that story and that part and that time of my life, and really was the actual story of Evelyn Road. I wasn't lying about anything. I wanted it to make sense from the start to the end. So that was it, really, man.
Mm. And one thing I really like in this approach of yours is that you take accountability of your part in a lot of kind of what you sing about in the breakup and those kind of things. So what gave rise to that? What made you look inward in a way?
I think a lot of people are quick to blame the other person, and to be honest with you, like, I know what I'd done was probably a big part of that. So I needed to take ownership, not for anybody else, but for myself, to admit them things. And when I did that, that's when I started to kind of, I don't know, find peace with it, I suppose.
And if I wrote down some lyrics for a couple of songs, but there's a couple of songs that I want to get into a little bit deeper because I think they're really interesting. And the first being "It Hurts," because you mentioned earlier on, you kind of by releasing an album, you open yourself up to the world, but then the world shouts back in a way. So opening yourself up to criticism and those kind of things, what was that like for you?
Yeah, like anything, it was pretty scary at the time, but I just wanted to make sure that I was being honest, and that's what people saw, and that's what people got, honesty.
How did "It Hurts" come together? Well, what was the basis for that song?
What do you mean? Like, musically?
Yeah, either way, just what was the initial spark? It could be music, it could be a line that you had or something.
The initial spark was I got told someone was talking shit about me, so I was like, all right, cool, I want to write a song about that. And that's what sparked that song.
And then how do you then capture that feeling or that atmosphere in a song? And then what is the process involved with that? Because you do work with producers, and how do you kind of convey what you're thinking or what you're feeling into that song?
Okay, now.
Or are these two technical questions?
It's too technical for me, man. I'm not
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Let's get into something else then, because another song I find very interesting is "People Always Meant to Be." How do you, and the line that I wrote down from that is, people are meant to see the world in their eyes. People are meant to be free. How do you see that song?
Like what you said, like people are meant to do what they want to do. They don't need to listen to anybody else's. Like if they believe in something, go do it. And that's what I did.
Is that something that goes back to kind of your decision to pursue music? Because I think you had some possibilities of going to the States to play football and.
No. The football thing was so long. The football thing when I was a kid. Like
fair enough.
People, that song's all about like I just said, you can do what you want to do, go out and be who you want to be, and don't listen to anybody telling you you can't do something when you can do it. Whether it's about music, I don't know. The album's not about me wanting to don't I be a musician. You know what the album's about. It's about a relationship, and that's why it's on that album. Fair
enough. Musically, then, it sounds a lot more expansive with choirs, with strings. What was your mindset going in musically? What did you want to kind of make what kind of feeling did you want out of the sonic landscape of the album?
I wanted it to be kind of like a grand album. I wanted it to be a step up from what my first one was, for sure. But I wanted it to be influences of soul, gospel. There's a little bit of hip hop influence if you listen to like "Oh Please" or something like that. But to be honest with you, I just wanted to kind of, make a record that sounded like it could be listened to 20 years time. Do you know what I mean?
What was it like being on stage after such a long time?
Oh man, it was so good. To see people just happy and getting out of lockdown and just being able to like have that sense of freedom. Do you know what I mean?
What did you miss most about not being able to do that?
What did I miss most about doing it? Everything, man. This is what I do. Do you know what I mean? It's my release being on stage. That's what I love doing, and I love performing. I love making people happy. So not being able to do it was hard, man. But to get back doing it was like seeing an old friend. It was like kind of just being like, oh yeah, I've missed you a lot, but let's do exactly what we used to do and just have fun.
Right. And for somebody who's not a musician, can you describe that feeling? What is it like for you being on stage? Is it a very conscious thing? Or is it kind of automatic pilot type of thing? How do you experience that?
It's like doing a drug that doesn't exist apart from for you, and you're the only one who can take it. And then it lasts for an hour and a half, and then you come off stage. You're like, wow, that was a trip. That was cool. It's a very conscious, but also like a very like, I don't know. I can't really explain it apart from the way I've just done it. It's like doing a drug nobody else knows about.
So, and this is again something I hear from artists, but that, as you mentioned, are compared to a drug. It's very addictive. So not having that in your life did it kind of seep into your creativity then? How did you spend the lockdown? Were you just really creative?
No, not really. Like I said, I needed to have that time in lockdown to sort my head out mentally and physically. I had written an album that was meant to come out, which was Ever in Road. Corona happened and I delayed it for a year, and it gave me a time to forget about music, which I did. I spent it with my mum and dad and my brother, and I just took family time and sorted my life out, man.
When you revisited Ever in Road, then did it change a lot after you kind of took that time?
No, not really. Look the same, mate, but yeah.
And then with an album like this, is this very much a snapshot of your life? Like this is, as you mentioned, this is about this one thing, this one period in my life, and now it's on to the next one.
Yeah, for sure. That's a part of my life that the book has been closed, and it's a time that will stay there. But yeah, I've moved on, mate. I'm making new music now, and I'm excited for that.
Yeah, because I saw some photos of you being in the studio already. So where's your mind at now as far as writing goes?
My mind is in a happy place, my friend.
There's already a lot of positivity on this album. Was that important to you to not make it a kind of a sad album?
Yeah, like I didn't want it to be like a cry about it, and I wanted it to be like, listen, we make mistakes, we do silly things, but learn from them and go out and just have a good time anyway.
Yeah, well, one of the songs that is really that I found is quite positive is "By Your Side" that you did with Calvin Harris. What was the dynamic between the two of you making that song?
He messaged me on Instagram, and we spoke, and then we just did it on FaceTime, and he's an unbelievable guy, one of the biggest DJs in the world. So I was honored to be on the song, and yeah, just an amazing opportunity.
And if you've made music with other impressive people like Ella Henderson and those kind of people, what do you take away from those collaborations, or do you take anything away from them?
Mate, we're all just musicians doing our thing, man. I'm not a deep guy. Like these questions, bro. I'm like thinking, Jesus, these are deep questions. I just get on with what I'm doing, bruv. I take every day as it comes, and working with musicians is an amazing thing. But I don't go home and deeply think about it though.
That's probably one of the dangers in what I do, is that you become quite analytical about stuff you shouldn't be analyzing.
Bro, For sure.
Fair enough. Okay, let's keep it simple then. Because I do find it interesting. What is it that you do then? How do you see what you do? What is it that you want to accomplish in a way? How do you see success?
Yeah, man. I want to be one of the biggest artists in the world, man. I'd love to be that. But I see success as if you're happy and you're doing what you love doing, no matter how big you are or what, wherever you go, if you're happy doing it, then you're successful. And some people it's all about money, some people it's all about awards. But to be honest with you, if I keep selling tickets and I can still gig and I can still go on tour, then I'm happy, man. Do you know what I mean? And if it sets me up to be able to like rest easy at night, then I'm good.
That sounds very healthy. Last question then. I saw a picture of you and Ed Sheeran, and now you're already in the studio working on new music. Is there anything you're doing with him?
Who knows, man? Who knows?
Fair enough. Tom, thank you so much, and sorry for the difficult questions this early in the day.
It's all good, man. It's all good, man. Just today, there's been so many deep questions today. I'm like, yo, man. Right?
I think it's a Dutch thing. That it's the way we do these kind of things, I suppose.
I like it, man. It's all good, bro. Good to see you, man. Take it easy.
You too. Have a good one. Bye-bye.